Episode 57CX, February 6, 2025. The Elon Musk Act, the Eliminate Looting of Our Nation Act. In Episode 57CX, 1 Introduction RAWSEP View, 2 United States Substack Letters, from an American Heather Cox Richardson February 5, 2025. Trump executive orders appear to have been lifted from the 922-page Project 2025 document, which is the product of a group of far-right organizations, led by the Heritage Foundation, which has ties to the Danube Institute of the right-wing autocrat Hungarian Prime Minister Victor Orban. RAWSEP View. On February 5, 2025, protests were held across the United States. 3 Hungary RAWSEP View. This blocked real estate deal of Victor Orban may have been the inspiration for the Trump, internationally shunned, proposed real estate deal creating a Gaza Riviera From. The article headline Budapest Torpedoes mini Dubai land deal and blow to Orbán. 1 Introduction RAWSEP View. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building, for just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning, replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood stove and international convention based on the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. Burning wood instead of coal increases the adverse health effects of PM 2.5 air pollution and hastens climate change. Stopping burning wood for residential home heating is an easy incremental way to be kind to your neighbor and to the planet. Choosing to burn wood when burning wood when it is more expensive than heating your home with a heat pump that is less expensive when you use the United States heat pump rebates available in 2025 in many states is like choosing a gas-powered car above an electric car when both are of equal price. Many of the Trump tariffs will result in less manufacture of clean electric vehicles in the United States and less price reduction to customers on existing electric vehicles. 2 United States Substack Letters, from an American Heather Cox Richardson February 5, 2025. Trump executive orders appear to have been lifted from the 922-page Project 2025 document, which is the product of a group of far-right organizations, led by the Heritage Foundation, which has ties to the Danube Institute of the right-wing autocrat Hungarian Prime Minister Victor Orban. RAWSEP View. On February 5, 2025, protests were held across the United States. RAWSEP key excerpt from the article below. Cuts the Trump administration and Musk are making to the federal government are to be felt at home. Those cuts hurt Trump rural voters worse than they hurt Democratic areas in Virginia. RAWSEP main points found in the article below. 2 Trump tariffs against China will increase prices for American consumers. 2 Trump Riviera idea for Gaza provoked international backlash. 2 Trump blaming previous administrations for problems arising on his watch comes from a playbook. 2 Trump signing orders for the cameras comes from a playbook. 2 Vance and Musk echo wording from a playbook. 2 from the article. 2 Musk seizing control of the Treasury endangers the social security payments to individuals. 2 Musk has the power to manipulate quarterly job numbers. 2 Musk should not be the one to determine if his actions constitute a conflict of interest. 2 the Central Intelligence Agency CIA sent a list of all employees the agency hired in the past 2 years to the White House, sending the list by unclassified email, which could compromise safety of individuals. 2 On February 5, 2025, protesters gathered across the country to protest the takeover of the U.S. government by Musk and his cronies. 2 the U.S. Senate phone system has been overwhelmed with around 1,600 calls a minute in contrast to the 40 calls a minute it usually receives. 2 Representative Mark Pocan, Democrat of Wisconsin DWI, announced he would introduce the Elon Musk Act, the Eliminate Looting of Our Nation by Mitigating Unethical State Kleptocracy Act, which would ban federal contracts for special government employees. 2 on February 5, 2025. Democratic senators held the Senate floor all night in a filibuster to stop the confirmation of Russell Vought, a key right-wing author of Project 2025, to direct the Office of Management and Budget excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This week, the Trump-threatened tariff war blew up in the Trump face after his vow to put tariffs of 25% on most products from Mexico and Canada sent the stock market plunging. He was left declaring victory over Mexico and Canada after they essentially assured him they would do things they are already doing. Trump tariffs on products from China are increasing prices in the U.S. Last night, Trump horrified his advisors by saying the U.S. should turn Gaza into a resort area in the Middle East, that there was speculation that Secretary of State Marco Rubio had ordered additional security for the U.S. diplomatic facilities there on February 2, 2025. Scholar of authoritarianism reflected on the Trump multiple photo ops signing executive orders, while blaming former Democratic presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden for a plane crash that happened on the Trump. Watch a befuddled Trump signed ever larger pieces of paper for the cameras. The Nerd Reich noted that a thinker popular with the technological elite in 2022 laid out a plan to gut the U.S. government and replace it with a dictatorship. This would be a reboot of the country and would require a full power start. A reference to restarting a stalled. The website noted that Vice President J.D. Vance has echoed the prescriptions of Yarvin and that Trump sidekick billionaire Musk appears to be putting the blueprint into action. On February 5, 2025, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Musk team has accessed payment and contracting systems at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services (CMS), which sits at the center of the U.S. healthcare economy. In 2024, CMS disbursed about $15 trillion, or about 22% of the total amount of the federal total. In fact, CMS is not operating without oversight. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, which operates out of the Department of Justice, investigates healthcare fraud. In June 2024, it announced criminal charges against 193 defendants across 32 federal districts who allegedly participated in healthcare fraud schemes that involved about $275 billion in intended losses and $16 billion in actual losses. DOJ has not presented evidence of fraud. They have highlighted millions of dollars worth of spending that Musk considers wasteful. By contrast, the General Accountability Office identified $233 billion of fraud in 2024. Musk and his 22-year-old henchmen have access to all of our data. They have information that would allow them to shut down your tax refund and your Medicare payment. They know everything about you and your family. Musk might be able to stop or delay your tax refund or Social Security benefit of your mother, in part because we have no window into what is happening inside the Department of the Treasury right now. Control over such information also gives Musk power over business rivals and political leaders. When the Musk team went into the Department of Labor today, Senator Patty Murray DWA noted that he could manipulate quarterly job numbers. We are talking about market-moving information. Do employers want Musk to have access to any of their confidential data? Musk has conflicts of interest as he reviews federal spending while also receiving more than $15 billion in federal contracts. A scholar of public policy said, "I do not know of any other case anywhere in which an individual could determine for himself whether he had a conflict of interest. In fact, self-determination of a conflict of interest is itself a conflict of interest." On February 5, 2025, Central Intelligence Agency CIA sent a list of all employees the agency hired in the past 2 years to the White House, sending the list by unclassified email. A representative, a top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, said in a statement that he understands that the White House insisted on the list coming through unclassified email, exposing the identities of officials who do extremely sensitive work, would put a direct target on their backs. For China, on February 5, 2025, protesters gathered across the country to protest the takeover of the U.S. government by Musk and his cronies and Senator Lisa Murkowski. RAK noted on Facebook that the U.S. Senate phone system has been overwhelmed with around 1,600 calls a minute in contrast to the 40 calls a minute it usually receives. Representative Mark Pocan, Democrat of Wisconsin DWI, announced he would introduce the Elon Musk Act, the Eliminate Looting of Our Nation by Mitigating Unethical State Kleptocracy Act, which would ban federal contracts for special government employees similar to the bans for members of Congress and other federal employees. Cuts the Trump administration and Musk are making to the federal government are to be felt at home. Those cuts hurt Trump rural voters worse than they hurt Democratic areas. In Virginia, about 400,000 people in rural areas receive health care from federally qualified health centers. Half of these centers have lost their federal grants. Trump is planning to shutter the Department of Education. The top 6 states that receive grants under the department are Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Nevada, which states all voted for Trump in 2024. On February 5, 2025, Democratic senators, led by Chuck Schumer of New York, Jeff Merkley of Oregon, or Patty Murray of Washington, WA, Gary Peters of Michigan, MI, and Brian Schatz of Hawaii, HI, held the Senate floor all night in a filibuster to stop the confirmation of Russell Vought, a key right-wing author of Project 2025, to direct the Office of Management and Budget. The proposals of Vought to slash federal funding will threaten Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. The senators said Vought will also continue to carry out Trump illegal federal funding cuts, stopping taxpayer dollars from supporting local schools, police departments, community health centers, food pantries, firefighters, and other vital programs. 3. Hungary RAWSEP View This blocked real estate deal of Victor Orban seems the inspiration for the Trump internationally shunned proposed real estate deal creating a Gaza Riviera. From the article headline Budapest Torpedoes Mini Dubai Land Deal in Blow to Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 non-profit organization. Thursday, February 6, 2025. The Hungarian government accepted the Budapest Hungarian capital preemptive right to purchase a vast plot in central Budapest which Prime Minister Viktor Orban originally wanted to sell to an Abu Dhabi-based developer to build a skyscraper-studded neighborhood. The cabinet will publish a decree on Thursday that recognizes Budapest as the buyer of the dilapidated rail yard and shifting the financial responsibilities for the purchase to the cash-strapped municipality. Plans for the multi-billion-dollar development had become a political hot potato for Orban ahead of elections. In a little over 1 year, the opposition-controlled capital criticized the splashy project. Hungary needed affordable rentals, not luxury homes, amid a housing and cost of living crisis. The government finally backtracked, which they should have done years ago. The interests of Budapest finally triumphed over mini Dubai. The government last month sold the 85-hectare 210 acres plot for $51 billion, foreign $126 million, to Eagle Hills LLC, which is owned by Mohammed Alibar, who built the Burj Khalifa skyscraper in Dubai. Originally, Budapest would have allowed the developer to build towers as high as 500 meters 1,600 feet, which would have made the buildings by far the tallest in the European Union. Budapest can build what it sees fit on the plot, as long as it meets its obligations. Eagle Hills had agreed to pay the purchase price in 3 installments, with the last phase conditional on the completion of €800 million of infrastructural development funded by the Hungarian government.